Welcome to Smart Living. So sitting next to me is the lovely Catherine Anaya. Now, if you guys have been in the Valley for what, 30 years?
I would say so. Yeah,
At least,
30.
yes. Well, she's been working as a news anchor. She was at 5 and you were at 12, and now you're hosting Horizonte with Arizona PBS.
Yes.
I love this. So you're the jack of all trades. So I'm sure some people, who are listening, they probably know you from when you were an anchor back in the day. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about the smart decision that you made to leave that career and how things have been for you since then. So tell me a little bit about how you started out in TV and why you wanted to be a television journalist.
Well, I love to write. People who aren't familiar with journalism don't understand how much writing is involved in what they do. Especially if you're anchoring, they think, they just, show up and read a teleprompter. Not the case. So I wanted to be a print journalist, and when I went to USC, I started writing for the Daily Trojan. I wrote all 4 years. I thought that was what I was going to do, and then one of my editors, my sophomore year, just randomly one day said, "Have you ever thought of broadcast journalism?" And I didn't. The thought never occurred to me. I watched news regularly, but I didn't see people who look like me on the news. So that just never entered my mind as something that I might want to do one day.
And I totally get that one.
Yes. And so it stuck with me for whatever reason, and I started researching broadcast journalism, and the more I read and discovered, the more I thought, I really should gravitate toward this. Internships followed, and once the bug hits you, as you know, you're down that road.
But it's hard to get a job on TV.
It is.
I mean, especially back then. Now all you gotta do is get a camera and get a YouTube channel on TV. But back in the day, it was really a hard thing to get in front of that camera. So I'm curious, how did you get your first job in front of the TV?
I interned at a couple of stations in Los Angeles. Second largest market in the country, great way to learn the business. I'm a very hands-on learner. That's the best way for me to learn something, is just to do it. So I dove in, got to know all of the anchors and what have you while I was doing my internship. So when I graduated, I was offered a position, a temporary position as an editorial assistant for the morning show at KNBC.
Okay, KNBC.
Yes, when that was up, and I had been sending out my resumes, I ended up getting an assignment desk assistant job at KABC.
Right. Still not in front of the camera yet.
Still not in front of the camera, but every chance I had, every weekend, I was out with the reporters.
I knew that. I knew you were going to say that, because I know you are smart and you go for the things that you want.
You have to show them that you want it.
Yeah.
And one day, after I had figured out, what they do when they go out, how they put their stories together. I'd ask for the tape after their story aired, and I'd put it together my own way. And because everybody saw me hustle, everybody was willing to help me out. The photographers, the reporters, you name it. So I went to my news director one day and I said, "Hey, my dream is to be a reporter. Could I do because I knew my resume tape needed me behind the desk.
Yep.
So I said, could I do just a set piece, for my resume tape?" And he said, "Sure. After one of the cut-ins, we'll save the script and the prompter for you. We'll get makeup." Nobody had asked.
Oh my
I was the only one who asked, because there were other people in my position, who wanted to be in front of the camera.
Right.
So we did that, got my tape together, and I just mass mailed it. It ended up somebody in a market, I think it was like a 120 something market,
which is
liked me,
right,
but didn't have a job, sent it to Frank Maggot and Associates, put it on their reel, which goes out to stations all over the country because they're clients.
That's huge.
And that's how I got my first job.
That's fantastic. Okay, I just want to back up for people who aren't familiar with. So at the end of the day, and I think it's still the same way. If you want to get a job on TV, it's not a resume, it's a reel that you have to have.
Yeah, it's not a paper resume. It is you on camera doing what you want to do.
Exactly.
So I had my anchoring in the beginning, I had my 3 stories, feature, hard news, something kind of in between, a little anchoring on the back, and that's it.
Right, and that's a hustle because that wasn't your job.
Nope.
And you had to beg, pull teeth and ask people on their own time to shoot video. I mean, it's insane.
To shoot, to edit, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, like you can't, nobody will even look at you unless you have a reel, but yet
How are
don't
you
have a
supposed
job.
to do that?
Right, exactly. Unless you do the hustle.
Yes.
And that is exactly the same thing that I did too with those opportunities. So not surprised, but super impressed with that.
Well, thank you.
So that is great. So then from there, you ended up in Arizona.
So I ended up in Texas for a year, morning anchor.
Okay.
I had to write the show, produce the show, run my own prompter, solo anchor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like baptism by fire.
Right.
Stayed there for a year, went to South Bend, Indiana. Now I'm
South
up at
Bend, Indiana.
Yeah,
Okay.
now I'm up at Market 75. And then I ended up in Phoenix a year later,
That's
Market
huge.
20 at the time.
That was huge. That was a big break.
That was a big jump.
Yeah. And so you ended up, when you came here, you were at Channel 5?
Channel 12.
Oh, Channel 12.
Yes.
And you were Channel 12 for how many years again?
6.
For 6 years. Okay. And so that was huge.
That was huge for me because I really wanted to be in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to post a story on my Instagram very soon to talk about how when my husband at the time and he was not my husband yet, but my boyfriend at the time, he was a professional baseball player, and he had come here for spring training, and I came to visit him while I was in South Bend, and we just had started thinking, like, where is my next move going to be? And we really liked Phoenix.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, we've talked about how we sometimes underestimate ourselves.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, it's a top 20 market. I'm not going to get a job from 75 to there. So maybe I should look at Tucson. So I sent my tape to Tucson. The news director at the time, he said, I think you have great potential, but I just don't think you're ready for Tucson yet.
What?
And it's a lateral move, okay?
Yeah.
So it was not even a month later, I get the job at Channel 12. I called that news director up and I said, hey, I just want to let you know that it's a good thing I didn't go to Tucson because I'm in Phoenix.
Yeah. And by the way, you could watch me too. I'll send you to a good job.
And I guess I am ready.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, usually when some people, it's true, when some people shut a door or they say you can't, well, what you hear is I can.
Right.
Right? And that's all you hear is I can. So that's fantastic. So go ahead, you're going to say
Well, and I'm just going to give you another example because I'm going to talk about this in my post, just about believing in yourself, yes, but understanding when the door you want to open for you is not the right door. So when I was in LA, my contract was up. I really wanted to stay.
Right.
And I had a bunch of friends at another station, and I knew the news director for a long time. I wanted that job so badly. It was not an anchor job. And keep in mind, I've been anchoring my entire career. It was a reporter job, but I wanted to stay in LA so badly that I was willing to go out on the street full time.
Okay.
And I didn't get the job. And I remember I thought, what? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And he said, because you're champagne and I need beer.
Oh my God.
And I thought,
I'm sorry, that gave me goosebumps. That he saw the potential in you. Like that's
well, he just said, you know who you are, you know what you're good at.
So just go do it.
Just go do that. This is beer.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is beer,
Yeah.
and you're champagne.
Yeah.
Don't settle just because you want to settle.
Right. Or don't settle because you're afraid.
That
You
too.
know, that's another thing,
I
too.
didn't want to move.
No.
And it turned out to be the best career move and personal move for me to come back.
Really?
Yes.
Why would you say that? I'm curious.
I just, at that point I was in the point in my career where quality of life mattered more to me, and it was an opportunity for me, number one, to anchor in the evenings.
That's huge.
You're making a lot more money. My kids are, my son was 1 month old when I came back.
Oh my God.
There was just a lot going on, but I have had the most successful parts of my career in that second chapter here.
That's great.
And it was a blessing. Thank goodness that I wasn't what he was looking for that position.
Yes.
Because I probably wouldn't have come back.
Yeah, and the trajectory of your life might have been a little bit different.
Absolutely, and I would not be married to Mr. Wonderful.
And you wouldn't be having the amazing life that you have.
Exactly.
And your children sound like they're thriving in life.
They are.
And that Arizona was a good place to raise your family.
Absolutely.
So.
I was thinking the other night, I have been here now, lived here longer in Arizona than I did in California.
So this is your home.
This is my home.
Yeah. And I have lived here for almost 50 years. I'm
What?
52. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, people don't know that. I wasn't born here, but grade school,
Yep.
high school, college, Arizona is home.
I did not
from the
know
West.
that.
Yeah.
I did not know. Because as you know, our business is so transitory. Contracts, you have to move markets, and so I think I just always assume that people are from somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I wasn't really a journalist. I mean, you did say that. Writing is, people who get into journalism, because I've interviewed a lot of journalists on the podcast, it's writing that gets them started.
Absolutely.
And being on camera is a secondary thing. Mm-hmm. That is not me. Me, I fell into television because I knew I was good in front of the camera, and I was using TV as a tool to promote my computer business at the time.
Interesting.
And so because of that, there were just people that were like, oh my gosh, she's fun, let's hire her for this job. Right. And that's what happened. But it did happen to be that when I got the job at ABC 15, they did pursue me because of my personality.
Right.
But what they discovered during the interview process was I was one of the cheapest people they ever met. And they were like, that's the girl that's going to show everybody how to save money. And I really am. It's just a way of thinking. And I think you and I think the same way because we touched
absolutely. I mean, I have, I probably need to go into therapy because of my relationship with money. But when you grow up not having money and you've had to work for as long as you can remember for everything, money is not something that you give away very lightly.
No, I agree with you 100%.
But I also, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because then when I was married the first time, I was the breadwinner, but I gave my ex-husband all the money decisions and all the money power. So I was bringing it in, but I wasn't really making, I had owned, I don't know, 4 homes by the time I got divorced, and I couldn't at that point tell you how to buy a home.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I really had to go through this learning process when I got divorced. Fortunately, I linked up with a fabulous financial advisor who really taught me, financial wisdom, education, literacy, financial literacy that I should have had and didn't because I gave that power away.
But now you took it back.
I took it back.
That's cute. I didn't know this story.
Yes.
This is very interesting.
So I am very, I like to say that I'm the practical one in my house.
Right.
I've really changed my husband's ways because, if he likes something, he gets it.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But it's like, let's research it first and make sure that you're getting the best price.
That's right, best bang for your buck.
What you're getting.
100%. And I don't care how much money a person has. It is a ethical thing.
Absolutely.
In how you manage your money. Like, I get it. Like, you work so hard. Like, I mean, I just think about like all the sweating and thinking and mental exhaustion I put just to earn like $50. So for me to spend like $7 on a cup of coffee at Starbucks is like, no.
Oh, I will return things if I see that it went down by $50. That's like mailing it back or going down to, Fashion Square or whatever, but that's $50 that could buy me, whatever, or
put in the bank and it can earn interest.
In the bank, or, I've got to pay my son's tuition. I mean, it just, I always look for how it can pay for something else.
Right. You don't leave money on the table, Catherine.
I don't.
And I'm going to tell you something that's really interesting. I love this because it's like, you and I, we've been passing through, we know that we work out, and we see each other and we respect each other and, and all that. But it's like to sit down and talk to you one-on-one and go, oh my God, I had no idea that this woman fundamentally respects money the exact same way that I do. And I'm that same way. As a matter of fact, sometimes I almost like hide it from people because I just don't want people to know how much I go out of my way just to save like $3. But it's my thing.
Oh no, I'm so proud of it. I send my daughter voice notes. Guess what your mom did today.
That's so great. That's so great, Catherine. Okay, so I want to wrap up real quick. One other thing that's really important, and thank you for sharing that about you.
Yes.
With your career. So when you left, so you left TV altogether, and that was in 2015.
I chose to step away from traditional news, and that was in 2015.
And thank you for correcting me.
Yes, no problem. The primary reason is because my ex-husband had passed away less than a year before, and watching my kids. Well, let me backtrack. I was already probably a year before that. Having conversations with my husband about when I would step away. So I knew that my heart wasn't in it the way it needed to be anymore because I'm madly in love with this man who I've just married and I want to be home with him for dinner. I'm trying to parent my kids and help with homework over the phone. And I'm not present. When you're working evenings, I drop them off at school. I'm at work by 1 o'clock. I'm not home till 11 o'clock. So I'm not seeing them again until the next day.
Right.
And then when you're sharing custody, there are 3-4 days during the week where I'm not seeing them.
Right.
So I wanted to be present for them and for my husband. So when my ex-husband passed away, I knew that my son, who was 11 and a half at the time, was entering a very, very pivotal point in his life where if I don't step in and be full-time mom and now dad, he could go down any number of different roads that would not have been good.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you for understanding your role.
Yeah. And it is the best decision I have ever made. I'm going to get emotional.
It's all right.
Haven't regretted it for a second.
Yeah. Well, I mean, gosh, Kath, I'm really enjoying. I know we're recording a podcast, but it is really great to get to know you. Like, I'm like, wow, you're amazing.
Thank you.
The things that we do for our children.
Absolutely.
And if they're not happy, if they're not doing good, we're not right. I know that. So you got to do whatever you got to do to help them.
Yes.
So we can be feeling right.
And I ended up not even a year later getting this opportunity to go host at AZTV a morning show
called
with
Arizona Danielle Williams.
Yes,
who I've had on the show. I love her.
Wonderful.
As a matter of fact, I'm having dinner with her tonight.
Oh my gosh, she's just the most
positive person in the
yes.
world.
But that, and again, when they asked me, I said under one condition. I take my son to school and I show up, because we went on the air at 8. By the time I drop him off and get there, it'll be 7:45.
Yeah.
You just understand that I will walk in prepared, put on the mic, ready to go. When the show's over, we do our post-production meeting, I'm done.
Right.
Because I got to go pick up my son at school.
Because that's priority number one.
So that's why I did it.
Yeah.
Because there was this understanding that my family comes first. This is a part-time job, and these are my hours.
Mm-hmm.
Then when that changed, because a short time later, I guess it was about a year and a half later, they decided they wanted somebody full-time.
Right.
And I was not going to compromise on that.
Right.
So
and thanks for having me a guest on your show.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, that was fun. But bye, on to the next thing.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
so I have been very fortunate that I have a very supportive husband who says, work as much as you want or work as little as you want.
Yeah.
You just be the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like. Whether it's just mom or it's mom and part-time, whatever it is. So with that in mind, I've been able to pick and choose what I want to do and be intentional about what I say yes to.
Right. So with that being said, you're hosting this show, Horizonte. So tell me about this. I think this is a great show for our community.
It is a wonderful show, and it's been in the Valley for over 20 years at Arizona PBS. It went off the air during COVID, as a lot of things did, went off production, and when they decided to bring it back, they had a rotation of four anchors or hosts. I was one of them. And then at some point, this was, a year and a half ago, they decided they just wanted one person to host, and they asked me. And, I was very specific about I don't want to work full time. I want to be able to, when my daughter who lives in Boston now says, hey, I'm working in New York this weekend, do you want to come? I'll be on a plane. I want to be able to be available for my family.
Yeah, and your daughter's pursuing I remember. Now, as soon as you said that, I go, oh, yes.
Yes.
Her daughter is a powerhouse.
She is the manager of a very big international company in public relations.
Oh, so, girl, that's so
she's
great.
Doing really
so
well.
I didn't mean to get you off topic.
That's okay. So I don't want to do anything full time. They were great about that because as it so happens, I had a protein bar before I came on. As it just so happens, their schedule, is very much in line with what I want to do.
Okay.
So it's an opportunity for me not only to return to television on a somewhat regular basis, because we are on in the spring, we are on the fall hiatus in the summer, but I'm also returning to hosting really valuable conversations, which I love having conversations, but I really like to deep dive into topics and issues that are particularly relevant to the Latino community here in Arizona, which I've been involved with since I was here in the 90s.
Right.
So it's been fabulous. The feedback has been wonderful. The community's been so embracing of me taking on the hosting duties of this very, valuable show for the community.
Yes.
And the conversations and the topics and the people that we're having on.
And it's a show that's probably going to educate us all.
Yes.
Give us
myself
more information.
included.
Yep, give us more information. And this is a show, I'm not just saying the best show, I'm going to tune into.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we live in Arizona. That's all I got to say.
You can watch the shows online.
Okay.
azpbs.org/Horizonte, and you can watch all of them.
Okay. I will have that all on my blog where people can get a hold of you. Perfect. Which, by the way, I think we're going to wrap things up now.
Already? I was having so much fun.
Well, we can continue talking if you like, but we'll wrap things up. If you guys want to get a hold of Catherine, again, I'll have that information on my blog at smartshopperdaphne.com. And Catherine, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know I said it earlier, but that is so nice of you to come in and support me while I'm trying to build myself back up. So thank you.
You know what? We are never anywhere without somebody's support.
Right.
So
and
I'm all about it.
You have empowered a lot of women in this community,
thanks.
girl. And you look fantastic.
Thank
by the way.
you. Happiness.
Right?
Happiness.
And self-care.
Yes,
Self-care is so
it is
important.
the fountain of youth, in my opinion.
It is. And we are very good about self-care. So you guys, thanks for tuning in. And don't forget, I'm Daphne Monroe, your smart shopper.